What's up, YouTube? George, a Silver Hunter, back with another coin roll hunt. Today we're branching out and doing a little bit of a variety. The last 2 weeks, the silver has not been good to us in the halves. I've actually been through 7 or 8 boxes and haven't found any silver. I've started to film those and ended up stopping because I ended up just having, a handful of NIFCs and maybe one proof, and it just wasn't enough to make a really interesting video. So this time when I stopped by the bank, I branched out. So I got a box of dimes. I've never done a box of dimes before. I've done a few customer wrap rolls, but never a whole box. We have a box of nickels, which we will use to continue filling our book, and a box of halves. And of course, we are looking mainly for silver, but we will keep an eye out for any kind of unique errors or varieties. And as I break into these boxes, if they end up being all new coins, we may just skip it. So with that, let's jump into these. I'm going to start with the halves. All right, let's open this up. Let's have a look. That moment of truth, right? This is what we're hoping to find silver on top, or proofs, or NIFCs, or anything really interesting. And I do not see any silver, so let me get these things rolled over and we'll jump in, and I will bring you in at the first find. So I'm opening these pretty quickly and doing 10 at a time and then going back through, just sort of checking for errors. It looks like I'm on roll 17. Yep, roll 17. We have our first NIFC, 2017P. This has been pretty typical of my boxes for the last 2 weeks, where, you get halfway to, quarter to halfway through before you find something, and it's usually an okay NIFC. So I'm really looking forward to getting back on the silver. I do have a very small stack of things I'm going to check for DDOs and no FGs. And I'll hopefully bring you back in when we find something a little bit more interesting. So this has been a really typical box of late. This is, I don't remember. I mean, I'm 7, 8, 9, 10 boxes in on halves this week, or in the last 2 weeks. And for this box, all I've got so far is this 2017P, which I've got a bunch of those, or a couple of those. So those are going to go back in the bin, or that's going to go back in the bin. I thought, at least for this, to give you guys a little bit to watch, I would quickly go through these last rolls on camera. If we don't find anything, I'm going to go ahead and just speed it up so we can get into the next box. All right, well, you probably saw I sped that up because we didn't find anything. So we have one NIFC for box number 1. Let's hope those nickels and those dimes are a little bit better. Give me a second to get set up and we'll get into those boxes. All right, well, as I said during my intro, I have never done a full box of dimes before. So I don't know what we're gonna get into. This middle part may be the longest part of the video. I'll be learning as we go, and hopefully we find some interesting things. That said, once I get this top off, this may be all new dimes and not a whole lot to look at. So let's see. Turn this around here. So everything looks really, really shiny. Let me see here. Just trying to get to a date. This looks like all Phillies. 2021. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to take a look and just kind of cherry pick a couple of these rolls and see if they're all 2021s, because as I just said, this might be the longest part of the video. It may actually be the shortest, because if they're all 2021s, I'm not sure it makes sense to go through all of them. So give me a second. Okay, well, this will be short. I have done a random check of probably 7 or 8 of the rolls where I can see Mr. Roosevelt here, and they all appear to be 2021 Ps. So we are not going to hunt this box today, but I was just looking on eBay, and rolls, original bank wrap rolls of 2021 P dimes are going for 12 to about 15 bucks a roll. So I think that's what I might do with this box, is take a handful of these, throw them on eBay, and see how we do. So with that said, let me get this box out of the way. I'm going to get over to the nickels, and I hope we have uncirculated nickels. Sorry, I meant circulated nickels, not uncirculated, because I don't want another box of all brand new nickels, because I'm trying to fill my book. Be right back. Okay, well, here we go with our nickel box. Fingers crossed and hoping for the best. I would love to be able to continue to fill my book, look for some buffaloes, look for some more nickels. This box is not cooperating. Too much glue. I can just break my screwdriver. All right, looks like we got circulated nickels. Awesome. So we have something to hunt. And let's see here, do we have any cool enders? I don't see any, but we do have a good mix of old design and new. So let's get into these rolls, and I'll bring you in at our first find. If you've never watched a nickel hunt before, we are looking for, obviously old V nickels. We are looking for buffaloes. We are looking for war nickels, which are 35% silver. Those are 42, I think it's P, and then any 43, 44, or 45. And then, of course, we're just looking for any kind of error that may be there. And I guess the big finds are typically nickels that you can find in the 40s and 50s. So let me get into this box, and I'll bring you in at our first interesting find. So we're going to roll number 3, and we have our first 50s nickel. It is a 57. Looks like a D. I don't know if I need this for my book. I'm going to check all that at the end. There's only 3 current dates that I need for my book, and they are the 09P, the 93P, and the 86D. So those are the more current nickels I'm looking for. I have a lot of holes in the 40s and 50s. So we're going to put that up here on the board. I am pulling all of my 2005 buffaloes because I think there is an error on these. So I'm just pulling all of those. And I've got a little stack of potential upgraders going for my book, which I will show towards the end of this video. It's actually getting pretty full. So we're going to keep on hunting. So bringing you in here on roll 7, and I did find a book filler for me. This was the 1986D. So while not rare or not a special find, it will fill my book. So I thought I would bring you guys in on it. Same roll, just a couple of nickels later, we have our first 40s nickel, a 1947. Looks like a Philadelphia, no mint mark. We're on roll 9, and we have another 50s. We have another 1957, much better shape than our last one. And this too is a D, so that's 2 57s on the box. Same roll, a couple of nickels later. A beautiful 1959 Philly. We're on roll 10 on the back half of the roll, and we have another 50s nickel, a 1952 Philly. Roll 12, we have another 50s nickel, a 1958 Denver. Put up here next to our 57s. Roll 15, another 50s nickel, a 59 Philly. Roll 17, we have another, I think it's a 50s nickel, 1953 Denver. We'll add that one up here to the board, and some of these may have some DDOs or DDRs. I'm not real well versed on them, so I'm going to wait till the end to check them. So if you're screaming at the video, apologies. Some of these may be key dates or semi-key dates. I just don't have all the nickels memorized yet, so we will check against those at the end. Back to the hunt. So we're at roll 19, and we just found our second, I believe it's our second 40s of the box. We have a 1942 Denver. So we are wrapping up roll 20 here, and while not a key date or an old one, it is one I've been looking for. So it's one of the last kind of modern nickels. I'm outside of the 2009, this 1993P. It's not in great shape, but it's filling a hole. So it's a find for me. Roll 23, we have a new earliest nickel of the box. We have a 1941 Philly. Look at that. We got a 1958 with some junk. 1958D. Very next roll, roll 24, we have found another 40s. 1947. Denver. Just looking up here, so we already have another 47. I don't recall, what was it? Was it also a Denver? So we got a P&D 47. I'm not sure if I need that for the book, but if I do, it'll fill a couple of holes. On roll 26, and we have another 50s nickel. We have a 1957. Looks like Denver, so a couple of 57s in this box. We're on roll 28, and I actually got towards the back half of the roll, and I just hunted the whole thing, but wanted to bring you in. We had almost back-to-back 50s finds. We had a 1959. These are definitely not the first of the box. Maybe for this 59 it is. 59D, let's see here. 58. Nope, we already had some 59s. So this 59D, we'll go with that. And we have another 1957. It too is a Denver. So we have 4 1957s on the box. So pretty heavy 50s box. Breaking into roll 31, very early in the roll, we have another 40s nickel. A 1941 in pretty good shape. 1941 Philly. We're on roll 35, and I found another 50s nickel, a 1954. Another one in pretty darn good shape. Oh, the back's got a ding in it. I can't tell if that is a D. It's probably a D. I'll get it under the scope and check it to see if it's an S. I did not bring you in on the last roll. I did find another really chewed up 1957. It wasn't terribly pretty, so I didn't bring you guys in. But this is going to be a D, and if it's an S and I can see differently under the scope, I'll bring you in. So we're on roll 40, bringing you in. We have another 50s nickel. It's another 1957. So this is going to end up being our 5th or 6th 57. I'll count them here in just a second. Looks like a 57D. So we have, it looks like 6 57s. So if I've got a hole in my book, I got a number to choose from. Roll 41 and another 1957. Philly this time. We're on roll 42. Obviously 52, we'd be into another box. We have another 40s nickel, 1942. Looks like a Philly. Do we have to create space? Yes, we do. We're going to fill in a number of holes in our books this box, I believe. All right, let's get back to these. We got, looks like about 8 rolls left. Then we'll get to a wrap up and fill up the book. We're nearing the end here. Roll 47. We have another 40s nickel. 1941. This one's a little bit worn, more so than a lot of the others. I don't see a mint mark, so we're going to say 41P. I'll go up there with the rest of our 41s. So we are on roll 50, and it's still producing a couple of finds. So we have a 1954. Here we go, got it to focus. 1954. Looks like a Denver. We've got a couple of these as well, or at least one other one of those. So we've got quite the board going up there. Okay, so for our wrap up, so you guys know, I can't remember if this is episode 3 or 4, but I've been doing nickel boxes with the intent to fill every single hole in this book. And I've got a lot of holes in the 40s and 50s. But once we get up into like the 70s, most of the holes were just S's and proofs. And then, of course, I've got a number of spots that I could probably upgrade, and I've been just trying to find obvious upgradable coins as we go. So I've already sorted through what's going to go on the book. let's go through them very quickly. Everything up here is 40s and 50s. I showed them to you as we went through the box, so I'm not going to recount them all, but we did have stuff as low as the 41 all the way up to 59. So we had a pretty good haul of 40s and 50s nickels. I do have one up here from 86. It was an 86D that we're not going to use. As to what's going in the book, we have a 42P will go in the book. We have a 42D, a 47D, this looks like a 52P. Then I have a PND for 1957. I was missing both of those holes. We have a 1959 Philadelphia. We're filling that 1986D hole, and I had a hole for 1993P. So everything you see here will be going in the book. And I have two upgrades. I did find a 1978D that was slightly nicer both on the front and back from the one that was in my book, and a 1961D that was nicer than what I had in my book. Now over here on the side, it's just a list. It's just a bunch of the new Buffalo nickels. I believe there's an error. I'll go through them, and I'll post an update on the tail end of this video if I happen to find one, but I haven't gone through these yet. But I'm just going to close it up here. So anyway, our first box of halves was not great. We had I think it was a 2017 NIFC. The dimes, as I said, they were all 2021 Ps. I'm going to list those on eBay and see if I can actually sell them. I do see sales for $12 to $15 per roll. If I can get that, I'm going to be super, super happy. If I don't sell any over the next couple of days, I'm just going to take them back to the bank. And honestly, I was really happy with this nickel box. I didn't find any silver and I didn't find any buffaloes, but there were a lot of finds in this box, so it was a ton of fun. So with that, I'm going to close it here. If you haven't already, please do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, smash that bell, and select all so you get notified every time I drop a new video. Leave me a comment down below because I love to hear from folks that are watching my videos. Feedback, anything. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Do you have a question? Happy to help. With that, I'm gonna close this out. You guys take care, stay safe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.